So, third video, maybe fourth, I don't know. Which video will be up between the explanation for my artist name and this one, or the next one. Random order. Anyway, story time. So, as you can see right now, I am on the Autobahn, on the A4 to be specific, and I'll talk about the Autobahn a bit more in a different video. So the even numbered ones go from east to west, and the odd numbered ones go from north to south. And this specific Autobahn has a bit of a story, which is already 21 years ago, as it happened. So back then I was doing cosplay once a year, maybe twice a year, depending on money and what kind of events were available. So back in 2003 I cosplayed the Kingdom Hearts version of Sephiroth, and well, I didn't have a car at the time because I wasn't old enough to have a driver's license. And so I went to Dresden to meet a friend and prepare the cosplay together, because we were cosplaying together. She was cosplaying as Cloud from Kingdom Hearts, or the Kingdom Hearts version of Cloud. And then we would travel together towards Koblenz, where at that time the biggest anime convention was held in Germany, the Animagic. And we would go there by car, as one of her friends had a car, and we would put in the money together for the fuel and just pack everything in the car and go. At least that was the plan. As you might be able to see, there are quite a few mountains here, and that becomes relevant. So after a couple of days of preparing for the cosplay, so getting all the stuff done, the armor plating, a few more things, coloring my hair, all the good fun, we packed everything into an Opel Corsa, or for the British people, a Vauxhall Corsa. So I think it was a late 90s model, maybe early 2000s. It was 2003, so even if it was a brand new one, it would have been an early 2000s model. Yeah, and as Sephiroth, of course, I had my giant sword, so the Masamune, which was at the time only 1.93 meters long. If you're familiar with the Corsa at the time, it's a two-door with a back seats, but you have to get out through the front doors, so the only doors available. And the cabin wasn't all that long, so to get my sword into the cabin, we had to have the passenger sit already inside the passenger seat, and we had to open the hatch, shove the sword all the way from the back to the front. It was almost touching the windscreen, and then close the hatch, and my friend and I had to go through the driver's side to get into the back, to the back seats, and then we would drive off. In a similar fashion, whenever we had to stop for fuel or for food, the whole thing would be in reverse then. So the passenger had a pretty long wooden sword right next to her, blocking her from exiting the door, which would have been a problem in case of an accident. But, well, nothing bad happened in that regard. Anyway, we started in Dresden, which is relatively low compared to this area. So we had to go up the hill all the way to here, and later in Koblenz it's even more extreme in that regard. And we noticed that the car didn't really manage to keep the speed up when we were going uphill, which was a problem because well, the speed limit here on the A4 is non-existent in most parts. And even if there is one, it's 100 kilometers an hour or 120 kilometers an hour. And the trucks here, they are going around 85, 90 kilometers an hour. So for the most part, we managed to stay at least at truck speed. But further towards Koblenz, where the hills get a bit more extreme, the car really struggled. At some point we were going 40 kilometers an hour, which is half the speed of the trucks. And then pretty much the worst case scenario that could happened. Murphy's Law. We were on the far right side because we were the slowest vehicles the slowest vehicle on the road at that time. And the Autobahn split. So there were two lanes going to the left, which would continue as the A4, and then there were two lanes going to the right, which were a different Autobahn. And we had to get to the second lane from the left. So when there were no cars coming from behind, the driver at the time shifted down, set the indicator, and in a swift motion managed to go from the far right of 4 lanes to the second lane from the left. after that, thankfully, it went a bit downhill in terms of terrain and uphill in terms of speed. So we were back to 120 kilometers an hour in a relatively short amount of time. And as I said, towards Koblenz it got a little bit more problematic, because the Rhine has mountains right at the riverbank. There's really not much space between the river Rhine and the mountains that line it for quite a lot of time. So we had to go up to a hotel, one of those mountains, and the car struggled to get up there in second gear. So from time to time we were going up the hill at 50 kilometers an hour in first gear. That wasn't fun at all. Now, on the way to Koblenz, the weather was fine, just like it is right now. So it was nice summer's day, warm, sunny. But on the way back, it was heavy rain. And coming back onto the Autobahn in heavy rain with 40 kilometers an hour, that was sketchy, to say the least. I mean, back in those days, there was a little bit less traffic. I think so we left Koblenz on a Monday morning. So when we got onto the Autobahn, it was the rush hour, the morning rush hour, that we pretty much jumped into at super slow speeds. But then again, I'm still alive. We survived. We managed to not crash. There were no accidents caused by us, so that's good. But yeah, that was really, really sketchy. And when we got back to Dresden, we unloaded the car. My friends drove off, arrived home safely, and then the car wouldn't start anymore. So the driver called the ADAC, the German equivalent to AAA for you Americans, or the road assistance, and they found out that the engine was running on only 3 or 4 cylinders. So we were down on power. The engine could have blown up any time. Yeah. But in the end, all is well that ends well, right?
Roadworks were reported on A4.
Okay. Oh yeah, that was the cosplay A4 adventure. Absolutely sketchy, but also in a way it was fun, and most importantly it was memorable. It's something to talk about. Another story I would talk to my parents about those. So yeah. All right, well, I guess that's it for story time, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.